Here's a peek at what guests had to say after the show.
Okay, we're back here on the internet. Rob, here's a question for you. Do you have plans to run for office?
No, God, no. Geez, Louise. No, I'm too much of a consensus guy. I can't deal with the fringes of either of the parties. I'm like a middle guy. They don't like guys like me anymore. Other than, were you a middle guy in your party?
No.
No?
No.
Really?
I'm a conservative. I mean, but it depends who you are. It's all perspective now. So
The
fringe thinks that I'm a conservative, but not quite fringe.
like a Sam
Moderate
Nunn
conservative.
Rockefeller Republican.
No, I'm more conservative. I'm more blunt. But if you want to get things done, I mean, you ought to run for office.
Yeah. But I'm sure. Look, I met a lot of Congress people, and I mean this as a compliment. I've never met you before, and we probably don't agree on a lot. But I could tell in this hour. There's somebody home here. There's not.
I try.
With a lot of the Republican congressmen I've met.
Of any congressman. Let's go on both sides.
That's
right?
true. There is absolutely no intelligence test.
But remember, Congress is representative of the American people. We get voted in by somebody.
That's absolutely right. I mean, this Vance McAllister guy is the guy who took Duck Dynasty to the State of the Union. Yeah. That was his big call.
I got my picture taken with Duck Dynasty at the State of the Union. Yeah.
Do you think that Congress...
It's the biggest Facebook hit I've ever had, too.
Right. Really?
Yeah.
Do you think Congress could find Ukraine on a map? Would it look much different?
Yes, we could. We
at
least know that. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, I could.
A lot of
Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Ukraine, Belarus.
I can name them all too. I did.
Actually, Belarus, Ukraine, Georgia. But yeah, I mean, we know this stuff.
Azerbaijan, Armenia.
I just have a hard time with Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan.
I think
Kyrgyzstan.
I have a real hard time with that one.
What a knowledgeable panel.
Yes.
Yes.
Сфотографировались ли бы вы с Ассанжем, если бы у вас была такая возможность?
Would you take a picture with Assange if you'd have this moment? If you had the chance to do it?
A picture with who?
Julian
Assange.
No, probably not. No.
Really?
Yeah, and talk about Russia too. Snowden really hurt us. One reason that they're able to do some of the stuff they know what they know about us, militarily and otherwise, because Snowden probably offloaded everything. And I mean that's the most worrisome thing about Russia right now. That truthfully. So no, I would not get a picture with Julian Assange. I don't think.
Well, we don't know that.
I don't think.
You said he probably.
Yeah, we don't know that for a fact what exactly he offloaded, and he himself said that he.
But I do.
You do,
yes.
Because you have meetings that we're not.
But I say probably.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes,
that's fair.
Snowden did a lot of bad things and let the Russians.
And we will never know those things because we don't get the briefings.
Okay.
I think we ought to tell the American people what Snowden let the Russians see.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
It would scare the hell out of us.
Я думаю,
out
что
of the
меньше
American
всего
people.
ужасных вещей делается российский парламент, в котором нет места для дискуссий.
Well, you know, I think it's much worse than the Russian parliament, where you can't discuss these things.
Right. Yeah.
Right. No, that's why we have such admiration for you, because you're going back into the lion's den, and you don't have to, because I mean, 3-picture deal, Rob?
Oh,
kidding?
you kidding me?
I mean,
an arc is my love interest? You kidding me?
Do you think Jeb Bush will run in 2016?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my question.
And I hope so, because he's honest. He just showed he's an honest guy.
Well, yeah, he did. He did something that, I mean, he's staking out a ground, much like Rand Paul is staking out a ground that no one else is staking out with foreign policy. He's staking out compassion. He owns that in the Republican Party. He said, because he said immigrants who come to this country from Mexico, it's not a felony, it's an act of love they're doing for their family. I mean, I could just hear the boos if he said that at a Republican debate last time. So
Here's my question. If it's Hillary against Jeb Bush, don't we have more than 2 families that can run for president?
It's like the Hatfields and the McCoys. It never ends.
But again, you know, I mean, it's not like people are being forced to vote for them. You know, as you say, the people elect who they want. We do have sort of a democracy
We like
here.
brand names.
That's right. It's why people drink
Familiarity.
Budweiser.
Yeah.
Budweiser, I used to be a liquor delivery boy. Budweiser sold like more than every other beer combined. Did you ever hear anybody ever say, boy, this Budweiser's a great beer? No, but they still drink it.
No, it's familiar names. I mean, you know, everyone knows this from voting. I mean, you know this from running a campaign. If you just get your name out there, people will vote for you. So people see Clinton.
I think it's even worse than that. I think we're jealous of the British. We have like a royalty complex. You know, we just love the whole dynastic concept of it, and it adds that sort of like reality show theme. It's just really twisted.
And
to
you
the whole
must know we're our way there in terms of class. Like the
Right.
rich stay rich, the poor stay poor, the same family names. stay at the top. I mean, we are creating our own like monarchy, not monarchy, but our own like.
And by the way, if people are voting
aristocracy.
for it, they literally are creating it. I mean, it's not the Bushes or the Clintons who are doing it. It's the people who vote for them.
Yeah, well, I would argue that there are powerful forces that are sponsoring
we never got
these
to our free
candidacies.
speech is money segment.
Yeah.
A lot of
So.
people, though, don't want to do it because, I mean, Mike Rogers, great example. He's getting out. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he could do. He's had it with the whole thing, right? So when you have good people, if you think they're good people or not, but decent people who want to try to do good things for the nation say, I'm out. That's a bad place to be in this country. Right. And I think if you have people like Bush say, I may be in, let's see how things go, that's pretty cool.
But
I mean,
isn't a lot of that because it really does suck so much to be a congressman? I mean, you have to spend how many hours?
Lobsters and limousines, it's crazy.
It's
I'm
not.
joking.
It's a lot of begging for money.
No, it isn't so much that. It's flying back and forth. It's being gone from my kids. I got 3.
Right.
Gone out of San Diego, being back in that hellhole in D.C. all the time. That's not very fun. But if you can pick things that you like and you can focus on those and try to do a few good things at the same time, chase the shiny object around, because whatever's big in the news, that's what we'll be dealing with the next week, right? But you have things that you really believe in, and you try to get those things done. And if you can do that, then you enjoy it, because you can get things done. But if you want to change the world in your first term or your 10th term, you're not going to see that. It's a slow change, either way.
But you are a supporter of Pussy Riot.
I'm a supporter of punk rock and freedom.
All right.
Can I ask another question?
Well, what's that?
Can I ask?
Yes, please.
Да, есть такая возможность обратиться непосредственно к политику.
Well, it's an interesting opportunity to talk directly with a politician.
Мне всегда было интересно, почему вы никогда не занимаетесь тюремной темой до тех пор, пока вас не ткнут острой палкой, как это случилось в Украине?
It's
I'm the least interesting person here, too. I would ask Robert Bill a question.
But you're the most powerful.
It's interesting to ask, why do politicians never take up the prison theme until they run into big problems like they've just ran into in Ukraine?
Well, here's what happens. So 90%
Until like the people make a revolution, politicians aren't really interested in the prison theme.
90% of American prisoners are in state and local prisons. Is that right, roughly?
Yeah, roughly.
10% are in federal
It's
prisons.
14% actually. Yeah.
All right, 14%. So we don't, I mean, besides the federal mandatory drug minimums and some other federal, I would say those are the only ones that are going to change, because there are federal minimums. That is more of a state issue. And you have Texas actually reform their entire prison system in 2000 or something, so there was more rehabilitation and less incarceration.
Yeah.
Well, I think it goes beyond that. The prisoners just don't have a lobby. They don't. There's nobody advocating for prisoners, and they have no political power whatsoever.
Here's why it's
We
going to
don't
change,
know,
though.
and
It's
it's-
expensive.
And it's
The market is making it change in Texas. It's expensive to have prisoners, right?
yeah.
Right.
Rick Perry's actually turned into this really unlikely advocate, not just for drug law reform, but also for reform of prisons, like the way that you treat prisoners, which is something we didn't really talk about when they asked
And
that
Rand
question.
Paul believes that,
Yeah.
ex-felons should be able to vote.
Yeah, and we're expanding the discussion beyond just the drug war, which is important because it is a whole culture of prisons and a whole culture of putting people in prison that we need to change. It's not just like, oh, we'll just, my son will not get arrested for having pot on him, I mean.
For too long, I think we've been using prisons as a way to just deal with our poverty problem. It's our way of sweeping it under the rug. The biggest problem, Americans just don't want to think about poverty. They don't want to think about their role in it, whether they have any guilt or liability toward it, and so they'd much rather have everybody behind a wall somewhere and not have to look at it. And I think, and that's one of the reasons why I don't think this problem's going to change.
How do you say good night in Russian?
Спокойной ночи.
Доброй ночи.
Thank you very much.
Real Time with Bill Maher. Ask Bill and his guests your questions right after the show at HBO.com or on Twitter.